who suffers with some low back pain or maybe some shooting pain down your hip and down the outside of your leg, you're not alone. Often this happens from a lot of sitting. Maybe we need new shoes. Maybe we stand in a weird position. It can be caused by a lot of things. But I'm going to show you a few stretches here that you can do. I am going to move through these quickly. So feel free to pause the video, hold the move. What I always like to remind people of is ideally I want you to go through this video 3 times. All the way through 3 times. If you can't get 3 times in, do once. If you can do more than once, do twice. Ideally is 3. We want to hold a stretch anywhere between 30 and 40 seconds. So that first stretch I'm going to show you here is going to be the world's best stretch. This is going to have multiple series and multiple parts, so make sure you pause this video as you need to. We're first going to start on the ground in a high plank position. So nice high plank position here. I'm then going to step my left foot to the outside of my left hand. I'm going to drop my right knee down to the ground. This is going to cause a nice stretch in my right quad into my right hip flexor. From here, I'm going to take my left hand and rotate up at the sky, driving my right hip flexor and quad into the ground. Then I'm going to set my hand back down. I'm going to do 2 more of these. Nice and up. And back down, and 1 more. Good. From here, I'm now going to rock back, and what this is going to do is I'm going to get a nice hamstring stretch in my left hamstring right up here. So I'm going to walk my hands back as I rock back onto my right heel, left toe pulls forward. So maybe this is where you're at. Maybe you're like, holy moly, my hamstrings are tight. Hold right here. Maybe you can get a little deeper and you can sit that foot all the way down and reach forward. Pulling that toe back, you're going to feel a good stretch back through here. I know that pain is in that low back, but a lot of times what happens is we're tight in our hamstrings, our quads, and our hip flexors, and that is what is causing some piriformis, some SI joint, or some low back pain. From here now, I'm going to pop myself up into a half kneeling position. So this is where if your knees are sensitive, I do suggest putting a towel or a pillow underneath. From here, I'm going to drive my hips forward. See how I have this angle? I'm going to get a nice hip flexor stretch on that right side again. Right arm's going to come up in the air, and I'm going to lean as I drive that right hip forward. You're going to feel that stretch all the way up your core. I am going to do this on both sides so you can see. Now I'm going to bring that hand back down, and I'm going to start both hands out in front. I'm going to open up, looking out at my hand, and close. I call these open and close the book. Open and close. Open and close. 3 to the right. Then you're going to go 3 to the left. One way is going to feel more uncomfortable than the other. That is normal. It's good to practice both sides. Good. Next one we're going to do is we're going to do an adductor rock back. Adductors are those muscles on the inside of our thigh, the ones that touch together when our legs are together. I'm going to kick my left leg out. See how I'm at 90 degrees here. I'm going to place my hands right here. So you may be thinking, holy moly, I can already feel a stretch right in my inner thigh. If not, rotate that toe forward. If you're still not, slowly rock yourself back until you're sitting on your right heel. I can feel a really deep stretch even through my calf, behind my knee, up my inner thigh. The lower you get yourself to the ground, the more intense the stretch is going to be. So after you've done your adductor rock back, you're going to come back up, tuck your foot in, and you're going to move into that other side. So right foot to the outside of your right hand. Left knee drops down. So now you can see this angle. I'm going to do 3 T-spine rotations. That's what these are called. And I am going to go quicker on this side. So feel free to pause as you need to. Good. After that third one, I then sit back onto my left heel, extending my right leg out in front, getting a good hamstring stretch here. Pulling that toe back, reaching for that toe. Good. After we've done that hamstring stretch, we come up into a half kneeling position. I'm going to push my hips forward. Left arm comes up in the air, and I lean to my right, getting a good stretch all the way down here. And we bring that hand down, come into normal half kneeling. 3 times, open and close the book to your right. 3 times to your left. And because of my room, I'm going to tilt. I'm going to turn sideways so you can also see what an adductor rock back looks like from front. So I rotated my left knee. My right leg's popping out at 90. I start up here on my hands, and then I slowly shift my hips back onto my heel, getting a good stretch here through that inner thigh. So this is called the world's best stretch. As you can tell, it's a very dynamic move, but it's an awesome way to loosen up our hips, loosen up our adductors, loosen up those hip flexors where we may be holding some tightness, which means some low back pain. So we're going to come up. The next stretch that I like to show you is going to be called the pretzel stretch. So you're going to come down to the ground. You're going to put your feet in a glute bridge position. Low back's pressed in. You're going to take your right foot, bring it up over top of your left foot. This may be enough of a stretch in your right hip. You may be thinking, whoa, this right here is enough. Stay here. If this is not enough, you're going to take the bottom of your right foot and drop it to the ground. And you're going to feel more of a stretch in that right hip. Biggest thing to remember is you want that right shoulder to stay on the ground. We're not rotating my body. Nope. Shoulders stay on the ground. From here, if you need a little bit more of a stretch, you can take your left hand as you grab your right knee and pull that right knee closer to the ground. Good. Same thing, I am moving quicker, so hold 30 to 40 seconds, repeat 3 times each side. You're coming up, switch sides, now we're going the opposite. So if we're good here, hold. If not, we can drop that foot to the ground. You may feel a few cracks, keeping that left shoulder on the ground. Maybe you're good here. Maybe you need a little bit more, so you take your right hand and you pull that left knee a little bit closer to the ground. Good, and relax. So that is the pretzel stretch. The third and final stretch that I'm going to show you, it's going to stretch out your quads. So you've probably seen a standing quad stretch before where you pull your heel to your butt, and you got to stand there and balance. This one's better. So you're going to lay on your belly, and you're going to do the same exact concept. The thing to remember, though, is we don't want our knees to go outward. We want to keep them nice and straight. So I'm going to roll onto my belly. You can turn your head whichever way is most comfortable. So legs are together. You can kind of relax how you need to. I'm then going to take my left heel to my left butt. I'm going to take my left hand and pull that heel closer while I'm actively thinking about driving this hip flexor into the ground. Right now I have a gap. I want to push that hip down so there's no gap if possible. Often our quads and our hip flexors are overly tight because we sit with our knees above our hips. Good, and then we let it go nice and easy. After we hold 30 to 40 seconds, we switch to the other side, keeping that knee nice and close to the body, not letting it flare out. Good, and we release. And then that final one that I like to do is a cobra. So you'll press your hands up underneath you and you'll lift your chin to the sky, laces of your shoes into the ground. If this right here is too tight for you, I understand. Instead, you're going to go on your forearms. You're going to lift up here. The goal is to be able to cobra while pressing those hips into the ground. And then after we do some of that pinching in that low back intentionally, you then pop those hips back into child's pose. Good. So take some time. Remember, I ideally want you to be able to go through this circuit 3 times. I know this is a kind of long circuit, so maybe you're just starting with one exercise you're going through 3 times. Doing all of these exercises together at least 3 times in a row, holding 30 to 40 seconds is going to get you the most ideal outcome. Start with what you need to. Maybe it's one exercise. Maybe it's one time through. Maybe it's only 20 seconds of holding. You choose what is best for you. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you start to see results in this eliminating that low back pain, let me know. If not, also let me know. Let me give you some different stretches. I will see you next time.